My name is Katie Hutchison, and I work in the Adult Services Department at the Worcester branch of the Wayne County Public Library. Today, I am reviewing Season 1 of His Dark Materials, which came out in 2019 and premiered on HBO. There are 8 episodes, and they each run just a little under an hour. So His Dark Materials is an adaptation of the fantasy book series by Philip Pullman, which is also an excellent series. So our main character is Lyra here. She's played by actress Dafne Keen. She's a 12-year-old girl, and our story starts off in another dimension. So this is another world. And in this other world, you need to have some background. Every human is born with something called a demon. Now, the word demon, for most of us, sounds like it would be something sinister or evil, but it's really not. It's just kind of a silly word. Their demons are animals, and they are essentially like Jiminy Cricket. They're a physical manifestation of their soul, their subconscious, and they can talk and give advice, and sometimes they're funny, and they need to stay physically close to their human. So that's important to know. Now for kids, their demons can change shape. So, maybe one moment it's a hawk, then it's a fox, then it's a cat. And Lyra's demon is named Pan, and they're very close, obviously, as one would expect. Now, when you hit puberty in this world, your demon kind of settles, is what they call it, into one animal, and it's supposed to be reflective of your personality. Now, the main plot surrounds Lyra and her friend Roger. They've grown up at Jordan College, and Lyra has lived at Jordan almost her whole life. And that is because she was placed there by her uncle, Lord Asriel, and that is James McAvoy's character. And he put her there after the death of her parents for safekeeping. Jordan is protected from the government due to something called scholastic sanctuary. So for whatever reason, I'm not going to give away spoilers, Lord Asriel thought that at some point she would need protecting. And Lord Asriel himself does not want to take care of Lyra because he is a scholar and he studies something called dust. Dust ends up featuring very heavily in this series. And his study of dust takes him frequently into the north for really long periods of time. So he doesn't think he can take care of her. So she's been growing up at this college, and the only other kid there is someone who works in the kitchen named Roger, and they're best friends. Now, at the time of the first episode, several Egyptian children, and the Egyptians are loosely based off of the Roma, have gone missing. And the rumor is they've been kidnapped by somebody called the Gobblers. And you kind of, as an adult, I watch it and you go, oh, the Gobblers sounds like, the boogeyman. But who the Gobblers are and what they want with these kidnapped children isn't answered until partway through season 1. And I will tell you, the Gobblers are real and they are not friendly. So because of these recent kidnappings, the staff at Jordan are worried about Lyra's safety. And one day, a woman named Mrs. Coulter, played by Ruth Wilson, who is amazing in this role, arrives, and she works for the government. The government's called the Magisterium, and she needs an assistant, and Jordan's college suggests Lyra. They think she'll be safer with Mrs. Coulter away from those potential kidnappings, because by this point, Roger has gone missing. Now, Mrs. Coulter seems really friendly at first. She promises to help find Roger, but the more and more time Lyra spends with her, the more she feels like there's something off with Mrs. Coulter, and she starts to question, why doesn't Mrs. Coulter's demon ever talk or seem to spend time with Mrs. Coulter? Remember, when your demon is far away from you, they would feel physical pain. And why is Mrs. Coulter also obsessed with dust and demons? Now, I obviously don't want to give anything away, but needless to say, Lyra begins her own adventure with a group of those Egyptians to travel to the north to help find Roger and those missing children. And along the way, she meets probably my favorite character in the series, cowboy grifter Lee Scoresby, who is played expertly by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and his demon rabbit Hester, and they are really funny together. She meets a giant armored bear named Yorick. She meets a witch named Seraphina, and eventually she discovers who the gobblers are and what has been happening with those missing children. And I just thought this was a wonderful adaptation of the book series, which I had enjoyed several years ago when I read them. And I do recommend it. Now, HBO rated His Dark Materials as TV-14, and I will say that I do agree with that. There are some dark themes, and despite there being, talking animals, those themes could manifest themselves in a way that would be frightening for a younger child. And I will say there is even a death of a child in the series. So, parents, use your discretion, of course, when it comes to if you're going to let your kids watch it. Now, I would be remiss to not talk about the cinematography. It's beautiful, as one might expect from an HBO production. Despite being a TV series, it really just feels like a long movie. And, the CGI for the talking animals is done really well. It never feels hokey. Being an adult and watching a talking bear, they did a really good job with it. So all told, I thoroughly enjoyed season 1 of His Dark Materials, which you can check out here at the library. Season 2 has concluded on HBO. With a season 3 planned. And if you've watched the series, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I know I can't wait to see what season 2 brings me when I'm able to watch those.